Hello and welcome to the SOFA series. I'm Erin Selby. I'm the Director of Education and Training for UFCW Local 832, and this is our SOFA series. Before we get started with tonight's guest, I do want to do our land acknowledgement. As long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the river flows, UFCW Local 832 acknowledges that we are gathered and work each day on ancestral lands, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. Our offices are located in Treaty 1 and 2 territory, and our work extends into Treaties 3, 4, and 5. We recognize the injustices done to the Indigenous peoples of this land and are committed to supporting and collaborating with Indigenous communities in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. So tonight we're going to get a jump on talking about the holidays, and maybe you're not ready to face that yet, but one thing you might want to do is start budgeting for the holidays. It can be a bit of a hit to the bank account if you don't really plan for what you're going to be spending, whether that's in gifts or in entertaining. And so we brought Millie back, who is with us from Seed Winnipeg. She joined us before telling us how to start a budget. But now we're going to go more specifically into how to make a budget for the holidays. Millie?
Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for having me back. It's a pleasure. So yes, I am not ready to talk about holidays.
But you are going to help us get ready.
Absolutely. So here I am going to share my screen here for my lovely presentation. Look at that. I found a lovely back screen here with snow, but I will, as Erin said, share with you some tips in terms of budgeting for the holidays. Again, my name is Millie Acuna. I'm one of the managers of the asset building programs at Seed Winnipeg, streaming there live at 80 Salter here in Winnipeg downtown and the North End. So here I am. I'm going to share some tips. Now, if you happen to be, if you've seen the previous presentation of mine, some of it might sound familiar, but I'm going to dig deeper in terms of our tips and preparation for actually any season. So I started it off with some snow, but I wanted to really recognize that seasons for holidays could actually be a number of life shocks or events that happen in our life. So I do want to basically recognize that the tips and resources that I'm going to share with you today are meant to support you in every season throughout the year, whether that's back to school. For me, as a single parent, the expenses for back to school are quite high. It's also starting a new position, winter preparation. So that is holiday-ish, right? So you have to get the winter attire, the increased cost in hydro, and then flipping back to what we just said to our past season of summer, it's often a lot of folks are moving. This is the time of year to do that, or planning a vacation. Also, time of life is retirement, so planning on changes in your income, as well as your living conditions, high maybe expenses in healthcare or medication with a lower level of income, right? And then ultimately you have your life shocks, those that happen unexpectedly or planned. So whether or not that was a breakdown in relationship, a new family member, car repairs, those potholes this past spring, I tell you, that impacted my life significantly. And unfortunately, the reality of the pandemic, so illness and sadly death. So when these situations happen, budgeting is the key to ensure that we're ready, prepared, and willing or ready to bounce back from these situations. So any season, any life event is what I'm here to share with you, and particularly some holiday tips as well. So making a budget. So when I talk about making a budget, it is about managing. It is this heightened awareness of your past income, where your money's coming and where it's going. Where did it go? So your expenses. You are a manager of your money. Ultimately, your responsibility is to ensure that you are documenting where that money's going and why. That is money management. Often, a lot of people either have their head in the sand like an ostrich. Some people have different ways of gathering that data. Perhaps it's a calendar notebook. Maybe it's an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe it's an app from their bank. But you want to be able to find a way to gather that information and document it so that you are aware. For some of you who are new to budgeting, I would recommend pen to paper. take out those pens and papers and journals or calendars and really document how much you're spending, documenting when bills are paid and documenting when income is coming in, whether that's wages, your benefits, any social assistance, maybe Canada Child Benefits, GST, or even the climate action incentive that was done throughout the year, which was a lump sum previously, but now it's quarterly, right? So documenting when income is coming in. And then what you do is a plan for your money. And really, that takes time. You know where your money went to in the previous weeks or months. Now you have to plan ahead. The best estimate in terms of the events that are coming up, like holidays or special occasions, maybe a birthday, maybe a wedding, or for me, it was the return to school for my children, making sure that I budget for those higher expenses during that time. And now more than ever, hydro has also been on the back of my mind, ensuring that I have enough coming into the winter months. Okay, so you really have to document your income coming in, your expenses from previous purchases, and start understanding the pattern and perhaps some of those regular expenses that are coming through your household. So one topic that I really need to discuss here is inflation because it is hitting us everywhere. I can't talk about budgeting without actually talking about inflation because unfortunately the pandemic has also put a magnifier on how much more things are more expensive. Let's talk about gas these days, fuel. So that just recently went up to, I believe, 1.8 something, $1.89. And of course, the cost of rent. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, the restrictions have lifted in terms of freezing rent costs. Also, utilities have increased, groceries, goods and services. So shopping now, you have to really be aware of the sales and the coupons and the ability to buy in multiples versus individual. Okay. And then childcare is another that it's kind of sparse. You do have to put your names on a waiting list, but ultimately you need to budget that month to month. And then entertainment and technology. We are in the pandemic, we were asked to isolate, right? And a lot of that increased our costs in terms of streaming devices, having that connectivity. And so making sure you have a solid Wi-Fi connection for work, for your personal entertainment, is really important for your mental health. So now more than ever, budgeting is a requirement to ensure that you are able to sustain your life and to meet basic needs. Okay. Inflation is always a very interesting topic because if you think about um, the first year of lockdown in 2020, that was a really good year of saving for fuel. If you recall, I think fuel went down to 60 cents at one point, and that was a great opportunity to save. I had put on a lot of that. Typically we were spending $20, $30 a week. You just put it away, right? And that was a great way to save for me when changes in cost, ebb and flow, you take that opportunity and go, you know what? I'm just going to save this for a rainy day. And that would help you in the long run. So that's what that is. Again, in really recognizing inflation, a plan for your money and putting it away, right? Saving is the ultimate goal. So let's talk about the different types of holiday expenses. And really, when I was reflecting on this and preparing for this, I may miss some on this list, but I'm finding food is number one when I think of holidays. The gifts, you've got some who take actual vacation and leave Winnipeg and want to go somewhere else. You've got fuel or transportation costs, decorations, and entertainment and childcare if needed. So if there's anything I missed, I do apologize. However, what I want you to reflect on is on this list. Would you say they are fixed expenses that happen month to month, same cost? Or are they variable? Do they fluctuate throughout the year? Or are they irregular? Once a year, let's say, right? So reflecting, this could be different for everybody, but ultimately what I want you to focus on the fact that it is majority of variable expense, right? It comes and depends on what special holidays, recognizing this is holistic and we want to include all special holidays, right? For our participants and community members, but any time of year, New Year, Hanukkah, it could also be Chinese New Year, right? Things throughout the year are holidays that reflect up and down, right? And so Because they are variable, it's hard to plan. But if you do your homework and do the data gathering and you see that last year you spent X amount of dollars on gifts, then you save for the same for the next year. Okay. But let's dig a little bit deeper about that. Okay. So, some budget tips here. When you stick to a budget all year round, easily said than done, right? But recognizing that you've actually observed that maybe you spent about $1,000 on Christmas. I'm going to use Christmas as an example. You may want to put it away month to month to month, right? Some automatic savings. Actively save, put that on your budget in terms of this is what I need for Christmas. This is what I need for the December holiday, right? So actively putting that on your budget sheet month to month will help you save for that large expense at the end of the year. You can also set a dollar amount for your gifts, right? So things to purchase, special occasions. A lot of folks feel pressured from friends and family to indulge or to return the favor, perhaps. But ultimately, we have to remember or be reminded of what's most important here, and you're there to celebrate together. So setting a dollar amount that makes sense to your budget is a great tip. Keeping it a solid $20 to $25 and not exceeding that, or $30 to $40 and not exceeding that. Okay. And kind of you're on a mission impossible, almost like that's my dollar. I'm going to go shopping and find this online. Even you can find some great deals online. The act of saying no, right? So this one is actually one of my favorite tips. Um, I know now, well, COVID is still around, but restrictions have lifted and we're being invited to events and gatherings. But ultimately, you may want to ease back in and not say yes to all the events. As much as it would be great to see everyone, you may want to space it out, right? Ultimately, think what makes most sense for me, and space it out, right? Say no to one event and go to another. Yeah, and that can really make a really big impact on your budget. Yard sale throughout the year, looking through your stuff. It's a great way to sort of purge things that you may not even open throughout the years that you could sell online on Kijiji, a yard sale, garage sale, you name it. It's a great way because others who also are looking for ways to shop throughout the year, some great finds can happen in garage sales, yard sales, online Kijiji. Great finds at an affordable price. Or you can make your gifts, if you have some kids that can help you with crafting, those great cards. I mean, I always find them much more meaningful when children and family members create the gifts and really come together to make it really personable. So food is really important for gatherings for me and my household. So ultimately, instead of hosting an entire feast, it's always a great idea to cut down costs and ask your family and friends to come up with a potluck, right? Very, very nice to have a variety of different foods and makes, or baked goods, having a baked good exchange, and ultimately sharing that in other events. So potluck sharing of goods is always a great cost saver when it comes to food. And what I've also noticed in the community is that there are a lot of free events happening with your community centers, your family resource centers. Um, when the pandemic happened, I saw a lot of external events for safe activities for families and individuals to travel all over Winnipeg and Manitoba. So really keep an eye on what's happening in Manitoba sort of websites, and you'd be surprised at how wonderful there are that are cost friendly and perhaps even free for your family to enjoy. And lastly, it's limit travel. Unfortunately, with the cost of transportation and also the cost of fuel, this takes a little bit of strategies, perhaps carpooling, perhaps even taking some public transportation when needed. But ultimately, you do have to put some conscious effort into where or how you're going to travel for the holidays. Okay. This is one of my favorite exercises. This is what we call my forgotten money. And here's a tip. This is my aha moment for a lot of folks, is I want you to think about some items that you buy regularly without even thinking. Often when I say make a budget plan for it, people don't plan for those everyday little things that are purchased that you don't give a second thought. For instance, coffee. Let's talk about that. So on my slideshow here, let's say coffee, a large double is $2.30. This individual might actually buy coffee 5 days a week, which averages at $11.50. You multiply that by 4 weeks for a monthly cost, and that's $46 a month. And now you're looking for a whole year of $552. Now that's conservative. Let's think, how often do you buy coffee and not buy a donut or a muffin or a sandwich to go along with it, right? So just thinking conservatively about this dollar amount, already you're at $552 a year. The next example is eating out. Those skipped dishes, DoorDash, pickup, anything, those Friday nights that you just don't want to cook and you want to get pizza for the kids, totally great. But let's see the cost. The average here I mentioned was $15 per meal. And if you were to buy 3 meals per week, that's $45. A month is $180, and for the year, it's just over $2,000, right? So having that realization or awareness about where that money is going, you may want to tackle and go, maybe I can slash this in half, not completely remove the expense, but be more aware of, maybe I'm not going to go to get coffee 5 days a week. Maybe I'll do 2 days a week. Or maybe instead of having take out food, I'll find that potluck or that free event that's happening that I could get some food and have some fun at the same time. So cutting this in half could actually potentially save you just over $1,300 in savings, right? So it's the little things that happen that you can cut, sort of budget for, and now I have $1,300 for the holidays this season. Okay. Now you'll get a little bit of a reminder of simple living. If anything, the pandemic also helped me remind myself about what really matters the most when it comes to the holiday season. It's self-care, right? I find it to be very stressful. Sometimes the holiday is a lot of pressure, a lot of time spent on preparation and attending holiday season events. But ultimately, you are important. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself and your needs for your physical and mental health. And then your family and friends will always support you. They will love you. They'll be there for you, but receiving help when you need it, right? And just having great communication and letting them know what your goals are in terms of your budget is okay. In fact, if you're going through it, likely they are too. Okay. And time. So time is of the essence here. I feel that a lot of people need to slow down and really remind themselves that it's okay. You can't do it all. Take it one day at a time and do what's best for you, what makes most sense, and your budget. And ultimately, that will go a long way when it comes to your budget. Okay. So simple living reminder that you do need to take care of yourself. All right. My favorite part here is to share you some awesome resources and tools. So what I'm going to do is quickly stop sharing to make sure I have here. I believe Erin will likely share this, or it's recorded, so you'll get to see this and reflect on the links here that I have on my PowerPoint. But these are free resources, online resources that can help you with your budgeting, and also some benefits that you may qualify for to increase your income, put money in your pocket. Okay. So here I am. I'm going to go to the first one here, which is the benefits wayfinder. And this was actually created in consultation with SEED and other community organizations. Community Financial Counseling Services is a Winnipeg nonprofit organization, and they're the ones that created this wonderful benefits wayfinder that can help you access some benefits that you didn't know you may potentially be eligible for. Okay. So here is Prosper Canada Benefits Wayfinder. Ultimately, you can go in here and say, I'm a newcomer. I'm caring for a child. Perhaps I'm in need of emergency funds, or I'm looking for housing support. Every situation here is available. And if you click here, let's say for emergency money, I would browse all benefits. Perhaps I'm looking for housing. Here it tells me that I could possibly apply for rent assist, the provincial benefit. I'm looking for Manitoba housing supports and so on in Manitoba. So this actually shows you nationally where you may access benefits for yourself. So I highly recommend going in there and answering the questions, and it'll filter out what you may qualify for. The other one is the budget planner. And this is from the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada. It is our federal supports that have created this free website. And so if you're not sure where to start in terms of creating a budget, this is a very user-friendly, online, free tool to start a budget. And if you click on it here, it asks you questions regarding your situation, whether you're single with kids, your age range. I'm not going to respond to that. You're full-time. Do I own or rent? I'm going to rent. And primary goal here is I'd like to save more money. Or perhaps I want to create my first budget. So these are things that you can choose from, and it'll help give you tips. Once you fill out all the questions they have for you, it comes in a wonderful Excel spreadsheet, and it gives you some pointers in terms of where it could help cut costs, change some expenses, and overall help you with holiday expenses. Okay. And the last one is called Trove, like a treasure chest, a trove of tools. And so this one here is also from Prosper Canada. And it says, take charge of your spending. And so ultimately what I did is I clicked on this and went to a simple budget template, or 5 ways to make a budget. And ultimately I came up with a worksheet. So for holiday season, creating a savings goal, what do you want to save for? Perhaps it's $2,000 for the holiday season. Perhaps it is a getaway with your family. You can work through this worksheet and help you come up with a plan. And hopefully you can stick this on your refrigerator door, your calendar, and try to have that daily reminder of what you're trying to save for. Goal setting, super important, right? Keep it a visual reminder of what you need to work up to. And that's success, right? But at the end of the day, as I wrap up this presentation, you do have to dedicate the time, right? Money management, budgeting requires you to sit down and really be aware, again, of your past expenses, your past income, and what that looks like moving forward, and trying to be disciplined and stay on top of your budget. And ultimately, when you reach that goal, you will feel so great that you'll be motivated to continue saving for that rainy day. All right. So thanks again for allowing me to share with you some great tools and resources and reminding you of how to budget. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Millie. You always give us such like tangible, concrete tips that we can put to use, and now some really good resources as well. I have to share that I do the buy the gifts year round, but you have to remember what you bought, because this happens quite often as I buy things all year round, but I forget that I have, and then I buy more. So you have to stick to your budget by remembering that you've already bought something.
Great tip. Yeah, exactly. You do have to put it somewhere where maybe a part of the closet. We're like, that's, this is for the that future holiday season. I've already got that. And that's great, because ultimately things go on sale after, right? And so if you keep an eye on it, you purchase the things that are on sale after Halloween, for instance, then you're ready for the next season.
Certainly when it comes to decorations, that one works. If you go
Yeah.
like the day after the holiday, the decorations are really cheap, but they're not out for long. You got to go quickly. Thank you, Millie. That was fantastic. And all tips that I think pretty much all of us need. Thanks again for joining us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us on our SOFA series. This is one of the things that we do for our members. If you're interested in knowing more about UFCW as a union, or how your workplace could be unionized, you can always check out our website at ufcw832.com. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again, Mary. Have a great day.